just be a little bit of a break until we start. You tell me when, Emily.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Emily Costantino Lee, and I am the Marketing and Promotions Manager over at the Santa Barbara Independent. Thank you so much for tuning in today to this week's Downtown Business Spotlight. Today is all about coffee shops. And so grab a cup of coffee and settle into this awesome conversation. This interview series is co-hosted between the Santa Barbara Independent and Downtown Santa Barbara, where we highlight different Santa Barbara business owners each week. We're recording this conversation and it will be up on independent.com and downtownsb.org, so you can view it afterwards or share it with friends if you would like. And if you have any questions for either of our guests, you can put them in the Q&A box or the chat and we will be sure to ask them. Our host today is Robin Elander. Robin is the Executive Director of Downtown Santa Barbara. And with that, I will turn it over to her.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Emily, for the introduction. I am so excited to be on with another show about our downtown business owners. We have two amazing proprietors here. We have Marek Nold from Hustle and Grind Coffee Company, and we have Todd Stewart with Dune Coffee Roasters. Welcome. So happy to have you both here. I'm excited to learn about your stories and how you opened your businesses. And Emily and I have coffee to drink from both of your beautiful venues and have a conversation. So thanks again for joining us. Todd, do you want to get started? Your business has been open a little bit longer, and I'd love to hear your story. Tell us a little bit about how you came to be Dune Coffee Roasters.
Sure. Well, we opened our first store on State Street back in 2009 as the French Press.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there for a couple of years, and we were kind of starting to do specialty coffee in Santa Barbara before a lot of people had experienced it. So it was a pretty big struggle, getting people kind of used to drinking out of ceramic cups and sitting in a cafe. In 2009, that kind of wasn't a really big thing here. And after we saw some success with it, we were using Verve Coffee when we first opened, which is a roaster up in Santa Cruz, some friends of ours. And around 2012, we decided to start roasting ourselves. So we opened a store down on Anacapa and took on roasting. And that's kind of how Dune was born.
Well, that's really phenomenal. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about why you decided to kind of rebrand and everything, because you did have a great following. People loved your businesses. And what made you decide to kind of make that switch with your brand?
Yeah, so we actually started roasting under a different name originally called Castle. And it was kind of, we chose to go with Castle instead of just roasting as the French Press, because the French Press was it's not necessarily a roasting company name, it's a brewing device. We thought maybe people would associate it with, this is Felix joining me, by the way.
Welcome, Felix.
Thank you.
We thought, people might get confused with like French roast, French press. So we decided to name the roasting company a different name. And then after we roasted with that name for a couple of years, we ran into a trademark dispute, and then which led us down this whole rabbit hole of figuring out legalities of names and all these things. And the French Press turns out there's probably 50 French press coffee companies in the US. The names, you're not allowed to trademark the French Press because it's a brewing device and kind of all of these things, which
The things you learn after the fact.
Yeah,
right?
so that kind of led us to, pivot the whole thing over to Dune, which
Gotcha.
couldn't be happier, actually.
And why coffee? Is that something you've always liked, or was that, always part of your passion, or what made you get into coffee specifically?
Yeah, Julia, I would say, is the pioneer of the coffee side of things. She's worked in coffee. Her first job was actually at the Daily Grind when she was in high school. And she's kind of worked in coffee forever, through college, post-college, off and on. And I worked for a skateboard shop for a lot of years, managed a chain of skate shops, and kind of did that for a long time. And so I had this big retail background, hospitality, more service oriented, and Julia was really coffee focused. And in 2009, after the big recession, we kind of had this opportunity to open the State Street store. It was too good to pass up, so we just took a chance on it and tried to open a coffee shop.
Well, congratulations. I'm really impressed with all that you've been able to accomplish. And Felix, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be involved in the coffee business and in Dune specifically.
Yeah, I am not from the Santa Barbara area, but I am from here closely. I grew up in Ventura, and I was brought here for school. And I met my wife here, and shortly after found myself falling in love with coffee and this community. And I was fortunate enough to land a job with this company. And almost 5 years ago, I was just started working at the State Street location, and slowly learning more and more and getting more experienced. I then became a manager of that store and have, I would tell you the rest is history. And I am still heavily involved in the day-to-day stuff, and now really focusing on just making sure that our teams have everything that they need to succeed and to serve this community.
Well, beautiful. Well, thanks for joining us today, and we'll come back to you to learn a little bit more about your business. Marek, you're one of the newest businesses in combination with another local business, which is really a cool concept. Can you tell us a little bit about Hustle and Grind and how that came to be in your trajectory in getting there?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually, Hustle and Grind is like you said, newer. We started that brand October 15th of last year, so 2020. But we are also Paradise. So me and my business partner.
Wasn't totally sure about that. So that's wonderful. That's smart to have both brands in there.
Yeah, so we started Paradise, which is Hawaiian style shave ice. We started the company about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, 6 years ago or so. And then we opened our shop about 3 years ago. And we've been in the same location right down near San Nuevo, pretty much in San Nuevo. And coffee's always been on our mind. But then Hustle and Grind kind of really took form October 15th of 2020 as we, for many different reasons, we've always thought about coffee. Both of us are both, really love coffee. And, but also because shave ice is a very seasonal thing. And despite people loving it, it definitely decreases the demand, it decreases in the wintertime. So makes sense, right? People don't usually like to eat ice in the winter. Even in Santa Barbara, even though it's beautiful, it's still, So
but coffee comes up when it gets cold, so that's smart.
Yeah, so that's like kind of the background of it. But Paradise also, I'll kind of stop there for now.
Well, tell us more about Paradise, because that was the precursor to opening this, and that's a really unique concept. Share a little bit more how you started that as well.
Yeah, so, me and my business partner, we're both from Santa Barbara. I mean, we've known each other for over 20 years or so, went to junior high together. We both went to Dos Pueblos High School. So we've known each other a very long time. We actually, we also work, we have full-time jobs as well. So we also work together outside of this business, and
Wow.
that's something. So we know each other well, let's say the least. And Paradise kind of came about. It was actually Lee's wife's idea about maybe 10 years ago or so. And when, I was always saying Hawaiian style shave ice, amazing, and this and that. And, they went out on a trip, they loved it, they fell in love with it, came back, talked to me about it. And we, started really experimenting at that point with, I love the idea, and we started experimenting with flavors, how to make the best syrup flavors. And what Hawaiian style shave ice really is, let me just break that down real quick, is it's basically finely shaved ice. So it's not a snow cone where it's all rocky or rocky ice. This is finely shaved ice. We make the syrups with real fruit, organic sugar, purified water. And Hawaiian style is where you put ice cream at the bottom, and then you shave the ice on top of the ice cream. Then you pour on the syrups, and then you put toppings on top of that. So it's a much different experience than what a lot of people think about. And it's still, we've had the shop now for 3 years, and to say the least, it's been a crazy 3 years, let alone for the world, but also for Santa Barbara.
Oh, geez, yes.
Right when we opened the doors, it was the coldest winter and the rainiest winter. Right when we opened the doors of a shave ice shop, so that was kind of tough. And then the Thomas fires happened, and then the mudslide happened, and then we're just starting to get, Santa Barbara started to get back with, their feet, and then the pandemic happened. So it's been a crazy 3 years to say the least. But hustle and grind is now there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and hustle and grind is really it's picking up steam right now.
Well, that's really great. For both of your locations, I'm always seeing, people outside enjoying, coffee or the Paradise Ice, especially Paradise. Lots of kids and families, so many little kiddos enjoying that. And then the families also, dads and moms enjoying either Paradise or coffee, which is such a cool combination. It really enlivens the paseo around there, just the energy that brings.
Yeah, and and we decided to differentiate the brands really because of Paradise. We love the name, first of all. And we've already kind of created that brand, and we wanted to keep it and really kind of just differentiate that. And we thought the best way to do it was just basically create a new brand and really focus on the coffee side of things versus a blended approach, so to speak. And now I can jump more into hustle and grind, but I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Todd, I'm curious if you want to tell us a little bit about your phenomenal kind of artistic piece of, seating area that you've added over this year outside. So we have this new State Street Promenade market, or not market, but promenade. And, it became a thing overnight. And then eventually you added, with, I believe, a local artist, this kind of public art space on State Street. Can you talk a little bit about how that came to be?
Yeah, so we were, when the promenade got opened and everybody started building their parklets, we kind of put a few tables out, and we're trying to figure out what we wanted to do with the space. And because we're a coffee shop and we don't really need the traditional, table seating that a restaurant does, we were trying to figure out something different to do. And then our friend Courtney Miller approached us, who's a landscape architect in town, and she offered to help us figure out kind of something more fun and different that we could do that might, draw attention to our business and the parklet also, and maybe just kind of encourage Santa Barbara and different businesses to try different things instead of just kind of building a deck with tables. So we went for it, and painted pink chalk on the sidewalk and did all sorts of stuff.
I've been hearing amazing things. What are people saying to you?
I think people love it. It's definitely like very Instagrammable. Lots of pictures of it popping up, and I think it's super fun.
Well, very cool. Nice new ad. And that's just such a fun way to kind of highlight your business and have people kind of linger and enjoy the space as well. So, how has it been owning coffee businesses during a pandemic? I mean, we've all learned more so how to drink coffee at home, but we also still want to get out a little bit to, get out anyways. So, um, Todd, do you want to share just a little bit about how it's been this past year for you and your business and any pivots you had to make things work?
Yeah,
It's been probably a wild ride.
it's been a very wild ride. I think back in March of last year when things kind of started to go crazy and the complete shutdown happened. Marek mentioned earlier the Thomas Fire. I think something that we kind of did was looked back to that experience and was kind of like, what did we do in the last disaster that we experienced? And we kind of like actually took a lot that we learned from that experience and shortening store hours and just trying to kind of get down to the bare bones and a skeleton crew, so to speak, in the cafe, just to keep our doors open, which then led us to do things like fast track how to have online ordering and curbside pickup. And we even did a thing called the Dune gram for a while where we were delivering coffee door to door. You could order online and you get like two beverages of your choice, two pastries of your choice, and two orange juices. And we bring it to your house before 11 a.m. And it was completely insane, but it definitely paid the bills for those first couple of months.
Wow, well, that's incredible, and such
Yeah.
a service to be able to offer. Was that pretty well received?
It was really well received. Yeah, I mean, it was very difficult for, my wife and I were up till midnight, often working on a spreadsheet, figuring out people's addresses and how to route the town.
Navigate the whole city.
Yeah. But we did what we had to do, and then we also kind of looked to our roasting company side of the business and tried to figure out how to increase online traffic. We have a website where we sell coffee, so getting people to try and sign up for subscriptions or doing any sort of online promotions there to kind of try and grow and that side of business to support things as well.
Oh, that's good. So you have a subscription service, and you have you distribute the beans to other companies to use. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we sell to places like Lazy Acres, Bristol Farms. So the grocery stores definitely were ordering a little bit more coffee during that time.
Okay. And where in the kind of trajectory of growing your business were you able to add sort of the selling at Bristol Farms and various, I guess you could call it wholesalers like that?
Yeah, I mean, we feel like when we started roasting pretty quickly, we started selling roasted coffee also. Originally just to other coffee shops and restaurants and things like that. The Lucky Llama and Carpinteria bought our coffee pretty much right away, and Say Cheese when they had the cafe open.
Okay.
And so we kind of started slow with some people that we knew, friends that wanted to support us and use our product. And then, from there, just kind of kept trying to push forward and grow that side of our business as well.
That's incredible. And how far afield are you in that distribution at this point?
I mean, we sell coffee kind of all over the place. There's a few places in LA. We had an account in New York for a little while. The Bay Area, we even sold coffee to Ireland at one point.
How about that?
So kind of all over the place.
Well, that's incredible. That's so much more than I had even expected. That's really cool. And Emily, you had something you wanted to share.
I love the online ordering that you guys have implemented. Especially like I have it timed out so I can order it as I'm walking out the door, drive to Dune, and it's like just getting placed on the table. It is like the most convenient thing ever. And do you think that, you will continue that like after things reopen and people are getting back out there?
Felix, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I would say that it's something that we're striving for. We're definitely aware of the extra business that it's created, and once things start to normalize, we're anticipating it being hard to keep up with. But knowing that there are things that we've done in the cafe to sort of help us become more efficient. Like we recently purchased a new espresso machine that has better tools to allow us to make espresso faster or to make drinks faster. Kind of just getting ready for us to essentially be able to meet the demand of online orders as well as like in-person orders when things do normalize. It'll be a challenge, but I hope that it can stick around, and we want it to stick around for sure.
I would
It's
say
such a convenience.
yeah, I would say probably the worst case scenario would be that, you know, maybe there's like a peak hour that it gets turned off for or something like that, but hopefully not.
Gotcha. Well, that is really interesting because I think that's one of my things that has really been helpful is when how easy it is to quickly order something. I do a quick orders at Blenders regularly or other places, and I can get something in 10 minutes, which otherwise would have taken 30 to 45 minutes. And it just really is efficient. Certainly chilling out a little bit would be good and not running around town and ordering and running. But, you know, hey, sometimes you got to do some things. But Marek and Todd, but let's go with Marek for now. Did you do any events or things of that nature before? I know that there's a Paradise. I think you have a truck as well, or no? Like a shave ice truck?
No.
Am I thinking of someone else? Okay.
Yeah, that would be probably Kona if they're still around, but that's a franchise truck.
Gotcha.
No, that wouldn't be us. We did do events for a long time, and obviously events stopped at certain point, but yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious as to how much of your business prior to all of this pandemic situation was related to events having to do with Paradise, and then later bringing on the coffee. Was that a more of a promotional thing for you, or was it more of a significant revenue stream?
Well, back then that was it was a significant revenue stream for a while, but it was then we opened the shop and we really focused on the shop. I mean, events was something that we ideally had envisioned that we could get into, but it's another endeavor that we're going to continue to do events to a certain degree. It's just probably larger events that, you know, that like City College, they hired us for a lot of events, and that was a great place. And then for the coffee, we haven't actually even talked about doing events for coffee, which I have seen at certain types of weddings. For instance, I have seen coffee vendors at weddings, but yeah.
What types of pivots? I know you said you made a major pivot in just adding coffee to your repertoire of offerings, but tell us a little bit about how, you know, this pandemic timeframe has been for you and your business, and what kinds of pivots you've needed to make.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, that you know, hustle and grind really was our big pivot, and the way we, you know, decided to roll that out is just like we do with Paradise. We take our product and quality very seriously. So we use locally roasted coffee. We actually use coffee from Kage, which is around town. They have a few shops, and then so we have our coffee menu. We make all of our syrups in-house too. So for instance, like the vanilla syrup that we use, we make it as well with real vanilla extract. Our lavender molasses latte, for instance, we make that syrup with real lavender flower. So then we also have a toast menu as well. And for our toast, we do a variety of sweet toast, and kind of like we've kind of refocused on our sweet toast, and then an avocado toast menu. So we love avocados, that everyone else seems to as well. So we have about 4 different types of avocado toast right now. We use Helena Avenue Bakery for our main bread, and then Lilac Patisserie for our gluten-free bread.
Okay.
So we try to, use quality stuff, local stuff. We try to keep it as local as possible as well.
Yeah, right down the street for both of those.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that it's really, I mean, that we love it. It's delicious, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback from what we do. So yeah, we kind of just incorporated that same kind of philosophy that we did from Paradise, which is, creating a quality product with, friendly service. And yeah, it's been good. So you talked about kind of, what was the question about the COVID? I mean, the way things have been going? Or
Yeah,
where
just
have we seen?
how things have been going, and kind of what do you see either keeping or continuing to change into the future? I guess we can start to talk about, we talked about what did happen, what changed, what you
Yeah.
pivoted, but what do you foresee for the future, and either in coffee business in general or for your specific dual businesses?
Yeah, we, eventually we would, like to get, we're like the newcomers, so we're definitely looking, I mean, we haven't even touched roasting, but that would be something, that we may be interested in the future and whatnot. But for Santa Barbara, I'm just happy to see that things are starting, I mean, for the world in general, but Santa Barbara, really things are starting to get back to somewhat normal, somewhat of a state of normalcy. And like, geez, was it the past 3 weeks? I've seen more people out and about in a long time, and it's good to see that people are downtown. I love to see State Street closed, so that's great. I hope that, I know that got extended, and I really hope that continues. I hope they make it in, the city makes it into a promenade or something that's actually, something, it just never really seemed to make sense for having State Street be just a drive down street, and there's no parking. So anyways, I hope that continues. Most I mean, we do online ordering as well. So I think that's kind of been a norm for the majority of local businesses and small businesses, and trying to facilitate, the ease of pickup and ordering. So, and that will continue for us for sure. And
relatively easy for you to set up with, like, does the timing actually work out for the person who's ordering and for you and your staff? It seems like making sure that combination of not your drink not getting too cold or melting away kind of situation, does it seem to work out efficiently?
So far it has. I mean, business for us is definitely starting to pick up more and more as we, our location, as well as what we, our Paradise offering, with the increase in weather and the better weather really in general, we've seen a larger increase in sales and everything. So, as for now, it seems to be working out, but if it continues to get busy, yeah, that may be something we'll have to look at.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that, all exciting stuff. I think everybody's excited to see, what this downtown master plan is going to turn into, and, what the future of State Street will look like. But, right now, just for those who are watching, we're planning to keep the State Street Promenade until March, but there's a new master plan process getting started. There's a community panel. The application process is out. So if anyone's watching and maybe the three of you might be interested in participating, it's really going to be a wonderful process to be able to have community input and collectively decide what we want as a community for our downtown, not only the circulation, but how things fit together, and just what we want to see. So it's really an exciting thing to be part of in this unique moment in time that happened to come across in part because of this strange moment in time. So it's really kind of a curious moment, but also a beautiful, kind of inspired moment to see how many people have pivoted, what they're doing, and in some cases how people are really growing their businesses and thriving in this dynamic. Todd and Felix, anything else you want to share about, what do you think about the future of downtown, future of your business, and what you're excited about for next steps?
I mean, I love the promenade too. I really hope that it stays, and I'm really excited to see what Santa Barbara comes up with. I think that this is definitely a we, like you said, it's kind of something that came out of a difficult time, but it's been a really neat thing to see Santa Barbara move towards, and I think that it makes a lot of sense. You go to cities like Boulder that have these like really cool brick promenades filling the streets, and they're bustling whenever you go to towns like that. So I think it would be really great for our city. Um, I think that, we learned a lot this year for our business, and I feel like, even with all the challenges that we faced, I feel like we're moving in the right direction, and we're going to be a better company at the end of this. So I'm just excited to see kind of what a normal time Dune coffee looks like.
For sure, absolutely. Emily, do you have anything else you might want to ask of these amazing gentlemen?
I don't think so. I know that actually, Felix, I see Felix quite often when I'm in French press, and he works works a lot at the State Street store, and the indie office is right. Like you could throw a rock and hit the indie office. And so it's just nice to like have faces that are familiar working in the coffee shop, and every day just seeing the same people and saying hi, and it's just been so nice. So I can't wait, Marek, to make it down to your place and get the same vibe there.
Yeah, I can throw a stone pretty much from my office over there. I just ran over there just before the show, and so it's a really tasty coffee. So I really enjoyed it. So just in case people need to see some branding, that's what they're
Thanks.
reflecting like.
Yeah, and who you would typically have been seeing is also our general manager Dylan. He's been a huge help in launching our coffee side of our business, and really the coffee expert, and he's actually going to be going out on a medical leave. Just he's snowboarding too hard, and no, he's going to get in some surgery, so he's not going to be there right now. But yeah, he's also been a huge help, as well as Chelsea, who's Lee's wife, who's also been a huge help in helping us, manage the shop. As me and Lee are also very, we're there as much as we can be, but those two people have been huge helps.
Gotcha. That's great. Well, it sounds like you guys have really figured out how to make some things work, and they're growing all in the right direction. How do you feel about a coffee business and industry in general? This has been a strange year for, regular coffee drinkers usually do their regular thing, and they have, their places that they go to. But this year was interrupted, and some people may have bought local coffee for delivery from your company, or they might have bought the beans and made them at home. But what have you seen kind of on a national or even an international basis that you've seen that you can share on what has happened to the industry? Do either of you have any comments on what you've heard or seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen a lot happen kind of with the import-export side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee producers were definitely really affected. A lot of countries are picking coffee kind of right in February, March, April is like a big harvest season for coffee. And because of COVID, they weren't able to get pickers to come pick the coffee. Coffee's a tropical fruit for those watching that don't know. So they, it's a little cherry that needs to get picked off these shrubs. And if they couldn't hire enough people to come pick the coffee, or, they faced social distancing things they usually, load up the back of their pickup truck with workers and go pick up coffee. And a lot of those things weren't able to happen. So production was really slow. Definitely some harvests were lost. A lot of things happened on the production side of things to really slow down that green coffee, as we call it, before it's roasted. So the green coffee export was really slow. We didn't get a lot of coffees that we usually get in June until, maybe September.
Okay.
So there was a lot of, and the ports were holding stuff up because the ports were working slower. So everything just kind of moved really slow for that side of coffee. So it was really hard to get coffee for a while.
Do you have particular relationships with growers or particular countries that you prefer, or do you get coffee from everywhere? Or can you share a little bit about that side of the business? Because that's really interesting. It's not like we grow, have coffee plants right here.
Yeah, I mean, so we work directly with coffee producers kind of all over the place. Honduras is a place that we're really connected to. We have a handful of people that we work with there. And our goal with our business is to know all of our coffee growers personally and develop relationships with them. And we look at them as business partnerships. There's coffees grown in countries that they don't. Talking to our people in Honduras, they're like so jealous with the fact that we have so many vaccines in California. And they just don't have the resources that we do. And Honduras, even back in, I think it was October, they got hit with 2 back-to-back hurricanes. Right. And the whole area was devastated. They lost parts of their, drying equipment on their farms, mudslides took out trees, all kinds of things happened. So we sent them money to help them fix their stuff so that they could keep growing, our coffee, because we buy their coffee every year. And it's truly a partnership with these coffee growers there. We have a similar relationship in Ecuador, El Salvador, Panama. So kind of all over the place. We're trying to develop some relationships like that in Africa and Ethiopia and Kenya, but it's a little bit more difficult to get over there and develop those relationships.
Wow, well, that's really exciting to be able to not only get to know your growers, but also support them in this really unique time. It's such a, the fact that any business is happening with all of what has happened in the past. Hurricanes and getting imported goods, and then all of this is really a testament for the resilience of entrepreneurship and just figuring it out and like navigating the uncertainty and mayhem that is business. But talk about a little beauty. Tell us about this one, Marek. Oh my goodness.
I just wanted to bring him on because Felix, you got an awesome name. This is Felix too.
Oh yeah. Wonderful. Well, what a little sweetheart. Marek, tell us about your relationship with, buying the coffee that you use. How do you handle that?
Yeah, fortunately, we don't. We as we buy our coffee through Tajay right now.
Oh, that's right.
Really experienced any of those types of import-export issues and really any kind of supply chain constraints.
You are so smart to just be buying it from right up the street. So you've mentioned 3 downtown businesses that you work with.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think and I know that there are those constraints all around the world, and ultimately, I was just going to say, I feel like humans are resilient and adapt, and ultimately, I think things will. There's going to be good things that come out of this, and there's going to be some bad things as well. But overall, I think people adapt. So I know that it's a crazy time, and Todd, you guys must be definitely feeling it in certain areas.
Yeah.
Well, I truly commend you guys for all you're doing and the amazing coffee that you are getting out to the community. We all need it right now. We need to keep mobilized and keep connecting, and also, the collaboration you all are talking about is the true crux of the heart of entrepreneurship and especially local business. So congratulations on all of that. I want to share a little bit about what's happening today, and then we can talk about next week. We have, so let's see here. I think, first of all, I want to talk about the State Street Promenade Market. We are back on today from 3 to 7:30 on the 1000 block of State Street. So you can come out and see some of our downtown businesses as well as local retailers, artisans there. You can check that out all on the 1000 block of State Street, which actually is very close to Dune there. So come check that out as well. And then, Emily, do you want to share a little bit about next week's show?
Yes. So next week, Thursday at 3, we're going to be talking all about Earth Day and the Earth Day celebration. So we're going to have Sigrid Wright from the Community Environmental Council, Hillary Hauser from Heal the Ocean, and Deborah Shorts from Santa Barbara Beautiful. So
yes, we got some powerhouse women who are doing some great environmental work and community organizing. So very exciting.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been nice to see friendly faces, meet new faces, and drink a cup of coffee while chatting. So
absolutely. Well,
Thanks,
thank
Emily.
you.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, Todd, Felix.
Nice to meet you too. You can come check out all of our downtown businesses on our website at downtownsb.org and find out all of the past shows that we've done for the past few months if you want to get to know all of the different downtown business owners we've already interviewed and see what's coming up. So we'll see you all next Thursday. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.